guys, my name is Marta, welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking about Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte. This is Anne Bronte's first novel and one that the author drew a lot of elements from her own life in order to write. It tells the story of Agnes Grey, a woman who comes from this very poor family, and in order to help it to survive and to be able to eat, she starts looking for a job as a governess. The book talks about her experience working for two different families. The first one only occupies the first 30 pages or so, and it's a family of two younger kids that are very messy, and that Anne's experience living with them basically turns into a nightmare. However, the second family Anne works for is one in which the girls she has to look for are older. One of them is 18, I think, and the other one is 12. So they are more aged, and she is at least able to communicate with them. One of the most important things about the book is the fact that it is written in first person, which makes the story very unreliable, since we get to see how most of the characters are through the eyes of Agnes, who is not really a likable person. She is constantly judging what others do, and she is constantly describing herself as the trope of "I am not like other girls, I would never act like they are acting." Agnes is constantly criticizing in their head the rest of the characters, which will make you either hate them or hate Agnes herself. For me, I didn't really hate anyone. I found the book to be very entertaining because of this. It was like gossiping with someone, but maybe if you don't really like that, you won't like either Agnes or the other characters. This book is also some sort of coming of age story. We get to see Agnes from the moment she goes out of her family and is constantly missing them, to her working and at the very end becoming a more independent, mature woman. It's a book that reflects on first love. Agnes falls in love with a man while he's working with the second family, and it's a really sweet relationship that has this, I wouldn't say slow building because the novel is pretty short, but you can see how some time passes before they finally decide to tell each other that they are in love. It's also a very sweet relationship which starts as a friendship, and that's something that I really like to read about in romance stories in books. The book also reflects a lot about the hard work of a governess. Agnes constantly compares how he is treated and how he has to live to what the rest of the characters do. For instance, he is unable to marry at the very beginning. He is only there working, and he has to see how the other two girls are constantly playing with their pretendants. It's also a book that reflects a lot on kindness. You see how, despite all her judgments, Agnes is really a very kind woman. She is constantly helping lots of people in the village, especially this older woman, thanks to whom she meets her lover, and that really makes her a more humanized character that will make you hate her less if you end up hating her because of the way he describes the girls he works for. Another main topic of the novel is family. Agnes really reflects upon her role in her family. She wants to help them, she is working for them, and she is also constantly dreaming to go back home, visit her parents. Overall, I would describe this book as a portrait of a poor female's life during the Victorian era. It's a book that really reflects upon how the only respectable job for a woman to have was that of a governess, and she had to work as that despite not liking it in order to provide enough money for their family to survive. It's a book then that is basically about self-sacrifice, and if you deeply think about that, that will make you hate less Agnes as a character. Overall, I would say that this is a very nice novel, as every single time I read a Bronte novel, it really put me in that Victorian atmosphere. The writing was not so difficult as that from other Victorian writers. The descriptions of the countryside and of the surroundings of the house that Agnes was working in were beautiful, and the different descriptions of feelings and of sentiments that the character goes through were also marvelous. Also, and I almost forgot to talk about it, there is a moment in the book when they talk about literature, and that is a soft spot for me. If you talk about books and about reading, about poetry, about any literary thing in a novel, I am going to underline that, and I am going to want to tattoo that line. Here's the quote, and I am going to read it to you so you can get a taste of how beautiful Anne Bronte's writing is. When we are harassed by sorrows or anxieties, or long oppressed by any powerful feelings which we must keep to ourselves, for which we can obtain and seek no sympathy from any living creature, and which yet we cannot or will not wholly crush, we often naturally seek relief in poetry, and often find it too, whether in the effusions of others which seem to harmonize with our exciting case, or in our own attempts to give utterance to those thoughts and feelings in strains less musical perchance, but more appropriate, and therefore more penetrating and sympathetic, and for the time more soothing or more powerful to rouse and to unburden the oppressed and swollen heart. I mean, if you write something like that, if you talk about how I feel when I read, I am of course going to fall in love with the book and the story. So to finish off this video, would I recommend this book? Yes, I can't say I do not recommend a Bronte novel. I am a huge fan of these three sisters, and Anne is the most underrated one, and I still don't get why, even though I am a Charlotte girl. But still, if you are looking for a taste of the Brontes and you don't feel like committing to something bigger, such as The Tenant of Windhell Hall or Jane Eyre, I would really suggest you start with Agnes Grey, since I think it really summarizes in less than 200 pages the feeling of a Bronte Victorian romantic novel. So that was all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below if you've read Agnes Grey and what you thought of it. Also comment down below which is your favorite Bronte sister. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. Don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and I hope you did this one amazing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!